They called him the Special One. But how did a PE teacher from Portugal become the most feared, admired, and controversial manager in football history? That's the question running through every whisper about José Mourinho today, an icon whose rise was built on genius, and whose legacy now teeters on the edge of theatrics. Long before the world knew his name, José Mourinho was just a boy in Setúbal, Portugal, obsessed with order and perfection. His father, Felix Mourinho, was a respected goalkeeper who had tasted the highs and lows of professional football. His mother, Maria Julia, was a strict schoolteacher who believed discipline and education were the keys to success. From them, José inherited both the competitive fire of an athlete and the meticulous discipline of an academic. Even as a child, he stood out, not for his size or skill on the ball, but for the way he thought. Teachers remember him arranging his books and pencils with military precision, never satisfied until everything was exactly right. At home, he studied his father's games, taking mental notes on tactics while other kids his age were chasing the ball in the streets. This wasn't just childhood curiosity. It was an early sign of the obsessive, strategic mind that would one day outthink Europe's biggest clubs and redefine what it meant to be a football manager. Mourinho's own playing career was modest at best, short stints in Portugal's lower leagues that never hinted at the legend he would become. He quickly realized that his true gift wasn't in his feet, but in his mind. After briefly enrolling in business school and quitting on the very first day, he pursued a degree in sports science while working as a physical education teacher. Then came the opportunity that would change everything. In 1992, he was hired as an interpreter for Sir Bobby Robson at Sporting CP. It seemed like a humble role, but Mourinho treated it as his personal masterclass in football management. He didn't just translate Robson's words. He absorbed his tactics, his psychology, and his ability to command respect. Soon, Mourinho was contributing his own analysis, impressing Robson so much that he took him along to Porto and later to Barcelona. At Barca, Mourinho studied the artistry of Johan Cruyff's legacy, blending it with Robson's pragmatism. Day after day, he honed a unique philosophy, one built on meticulous preparation, mind games, and an unshakable belief that winning was everything. By the time he was ready to step into management himself, he was no longer just an interpreter. He was a tactician in waiting, quietly sharpening the sword he would one day use to cut down Europe's giants. When Mourinho finally took the reins at Porto in 2002, he wasn't there to learn. He was there to conquer. From his very first training sessions, players noticed something different. Every drill had a purpose. Every tactic was meticulously rehearsed, and every opponent was studied like a chess rival. His methods were intense, even suffocating, but the results were undeniable. In his first full season, Porto didn't just win, they dominated. He delivered the Primeira Liga, the Taça de Portugal, and the UEFA Cup in 2003. But that was only the warm-up. The following year, he led Porto to an improbable Champions League triumph, dismantling European powerhouses with a squad few had taken seriously. It was the moment Mourinho went from being a promising coach to an international phenomenon. When he arrived at Chelsea in 2004, he declared himself the Special One.
Please don't call me arrogant, because what I'm saying is true. I'm European champion, so I'm not one of the bottle. I think I'm a special one.
A statement that sounded arrogant to many, but he backed it up immediately. That debut season, he set a Premier League points record that still stands, conceding just 15 goals all year. In the space of 2 years, José Mourinho had gone from a little-known Portuguese coach to the man everyone in football was either trying to imitate or trying to beat. After conquering England, Mourinho set his sights on Italy, and in 2008, Inter Milan became his next battlefield. In just 2 seasons, he delivered back-to-back Serie A titles, a Coppa Italia, and the ultimate prize, the 2010 Champions League. That year, Inter achieved the first treble in Italian football history, and Mourinho cemented himself as one of the most brilliant tacticians the game had ever seen. From there, he moved to Real Madrid, stepping into the middle of Barcelona's golden era under Pep Guardiola. Most thought it was a suicide mission, but Mourinho relished the challenge. In 2012, he shattered La Liga records with 100 points, ending Barca's dominance and proving once again that no empire was safe when he was in charge. But the higher he climbed, the more turbulence followed. His intensity that once inspired loyalty now began to burn bridges. Clashes with players, friction with executives, and a relentless hunger for control started to overshadow his victories. For most managers, a public fallout with players or a high-profile sacking is the end of the road. For Mourinho, it was just another chapter. After leaving Real Madrid in a storm of controversy, he returned to Chelsea in 2013 and, in typical fashion, reclaimed the Premier League within 2 seasons. But soon, the familiar pattern reappeared. Internal conflicts, fractured dressing rooms, and a brutal mid-season dismissal. At Manchester United, he was brought in to restore a fallen giant. The football wasn't always beautiful, but Mourinho delivered results, winning the Europa League, League Cup, and Community Shield in his first year. Yet again, tension with players and management eventually boiled over, leading to another exit.
3-0, but also mean 3 premierships, and I won more premierships alone than the other 19 managers together. 3 for me and 2 for them. Respect, man, respect.
Then came Tottenham, a stint defined as much by drama as by football, and finally Roma, where he reignited his underdog magic. In 2022, he led the Italian club to their first ever European trophy, the UEFA Conference League, proving that even after decades in the spotlight, he could still defy the odds. Every time the football world tried to write him off, Mourinho found a way to return. Not always loved, not always flawless, but always impossible to ignore. Now, in the twilight of his career, Mourinho has taken his theater to Turkey, becoming the head coach of Fenerbahce. The trophies are still within reach, but these days, it's often his antics, not just his tactics, that make the headlines. After a heated derby against Galatasaray, cameras caught him grabbing the opposing manager by the nose, a move that instantly went viral and sparked debates across the football world. Was it mind games? Was it pure provocation? With Mourinho, the line is always blurred. In Istanbul, he commands a fan base that treats him like royalty and a media machine that follows his every step. Some say his charisma has turned into caricature, comparing him to a showman more than a strategist. But even here, surrounded by chaos and constant attention, Mourinho still finds ways to win matches, unsettle opponents, and remind everyone why he's a special one. Whether he's orchestrating a defensive masterclass or lighting a fuse in a press conference, his presence in Turkey proves one thing. Mourinho might have evolved, but he's never stopped being the main character. Away from the cameras, the real José Mourinho is harder to read. A forthcoming Netflix docuseries promises to peel back the curtain on his Manchester United years, revealing the decisions, principles, and private battles the public never saw. Colleagues describe a man who can reject lucrative job offers out of loyalty or principle, yet act on impulse when emotions take over. It's this duality that keeps him so fascinating. The meticulous planner who can spend hours dissecting an opponent's set pieces is the same man who can ignite a media storm with a single sarcastic remark. Behind the bluster and the bravado lies a mind wired for competition, yet equally driven by pride, emotion, and the need to control the narrative. And perhaps that's the part of Mourinho that no trophy, no controversy, and no headline will ever fully capture. 2 decades after he first shook the football world, José Mourinho's legacy is still being written. To some, he's the tactical genius who revolutionized the modern game. To others, he's a relic, clinging to the spotlight with theatrics and controversy. But love him or hate him, his impact is undeniable, measured not only in the 26 major trophies he's lifted, but in the way he's bent football's narrative to his will. The special one has never been just about winning. He's been about controlling the story, making himself impossible to ignore. And that's why, even as the game evolves and new managers rise, Mourinho remains a central figure in football's drama. Because when history looks back, it won't just see the man who outsmarted Europe's giants. It will see the character who turned management into theater, competition into war, and himself into a legend. Across 2 decades, Mourinho has collected silverware in 4 different countries, building one of the most decorated managerial resumes in football history. His 26 major trophies include Portugal, Porto, 2 Primeira Liga titles, 2002-3, 2003-4, 1 Taça de Portugal, 2002-3, 1 Supertaça Cândido de Oliveira, 2003, 1 UEFA Cup, 2002-3, 1 UEFA Champions League, 2003-4. England, Chelsea, Manchester United, Tottenham. 3 Premier League titles, 2004-5, 2005-6, 2014-15. 1 FA Cup, 2006-7. For League Cups, 2004-5, 2006-7, 2014-15, 2016-17. 2 Community Shields, 2005 and 2016. 1 UEFA Europa League, 2016-17 with Man United. Italy, Inter Milan. 2 Serie A titles, 2008-9, 2009-10. 1 Coppa Italia, 2009-10. 1 Supercoppa Italiana, 2008. 1 UEFA Champions League, 2009-10. Spain, Real Madrid. 1 La Liga title, 2011-12. 1 Copa del Rey, 2010-11. 1 Supercopa de España, 2012. Italy, Roma. 1 UEFA Europa Conference League, 2021-22. It's a record that spans eras, leagues, and playing styles. A collection of triumphs, won in the glare of the world's biggest stages and under the crushing weight of expectation. Each trophy tells a story. The underdog Porto side that shocked Europe, the ruthless Chelsea machine that dominated England, the Inter Milan treble that defied history, the Real Madrid team that broke Barcelona's spell, the Manchester United revival, and the Roma fairy tale that reignited his magic. These aren't just wins on paper. They're chapters in a career built on obsession, defiance, and an unrelenting will to win. Few managers have conquered so many countries, adapted to so many styles, and still found ways to impose their personality on every team they led. And that is why Mourinho's name will not only be remembered, it will be studied, debated, and celebrated long after the final whistle blows on his extraordinary career.